right.
How are y'all?
Super.
Good morning.
Good morning. It is November 3rd.
Woo, today's my sister's birthday. Shout out.
Yeah. I was
Happy
thinking
birthday.
it wasn't 12 months ago. The country was in an election period, and what crazy effect that had on the real estate market just a year ago. And obviously, there's some things going on a year later that are affecting the real estate market, but I don't think it's anywhere as drastic as what happened 12 months ago, right? The government shut down. We're going to talk a little bit about that. The Fed's dropping rates. We're going to talk a little bit about that. The Fed chairman spout his mouth off. We're going to talk a little bit about that. It's crazy how things change, and we just roll with the punches. You know what I mean?
We do. We pivot really, really well.
It's crazy. All right, let's jump in. So, we always start with the numbers. So, Fulton County active status, we had a little drop this week, and I've noticed that over the last 7 days, there was just ever so slightly softening in a lot of things, but not all things. So just be perspective, and we never judge over 1 week, right? Like we're looking for trends, we're looking for things, but 140 went under contract, active under contract in Fulton County in the last 7 days, and I don't know about y'all, but I could keep scrolling, and I got to go all the way back to July to see 140 houses go under contract 1 week in Fulton County. It's November, guys. That's not supposed to happen. What do you make of that?
I think it's promising. We're always
I
looking
think so too.
yes, we're always looking for things that are outside of the norm. This would be one of those occasions, and we're looking for positive and optimism. So I love seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, I always like to look for optimism, but I think our commitment is to report the facts, right? Like, so that
Mhm.
sometimes we don't get pretty facts to report, but that's a very pretty fact for Fulton County, 140 going under contract in the last 7 days, which leads to 277 are sitting in the pending status in Fulton County. And if I did the same thing, I got to go all the way back to the same time period in July to even have a number that was greater than where we're sitting in pending status in Fulton County right now. That makes me feel great, and I think anybody on this call, that should make you feel great too.
Yeah, the
It
seasonality
just,
excuse is thrown out the window to some degree. So if you're not getting your unfair share, it's not necessarily the market.
yep. And then we've
Yep.
got 323 that closed out in the last 7 days. If I jump back to the end of September, we only had like 169 and 272 that 2 week period, and then we were 214 and then 323. Good numbers for October, guys. Really good numbers for
Absolutely.
Fulton County. If I hit DeKalb County, same conversation, a little softening on the actives, which you'll see in a little while. It's probably a good thing. 80 went under contract the last 7 days. Not as far back. Like there was a week we had 97 in September, some 89s, 92s. Not to discredit that 80 is not a great number in DeKalb County. It's just not as drastic as the one in Fulton. But 155 pending on November 3rd. I'm super pleased with those numbers, guys. We had 185 close out at the end of the month. Look back the previous month, it was 89 and 92, and then we were 147 and 185. I certainly feel comfortable at this point in Metro Atlanta saying October was better than September. Like we had more activity, more more contracts, more closings in October than we did in the month of September. And that's not normal, but it's probably primarily rate driven, I would guess. But the optimism's good, to use your word, Toya.
Yeah.
If I run up to Cobb County, go ahead, Rick.
It's nice.
Wasn't me.
Okay.
Is there another
Oh.
Rick?
There's,
Whatever you want to do.
I think there's somebody else.
I'm trying to find them. I can't find them.
It's all good.
Oh man.
Whoever you are, stop talking. I can't find them. Sorry.
Sorry, that was me. I apologize.
all
It
right.
came off mute accidentally.
You're
All
good.
right, Ted, we got you, brother.
I
All
know.
right. All right. 366 Cobb County, little softening in the active listing category.
Mhm.
But 88 went under contract, which, 88's a great number, yet it's not as great as the last couple of weeks. So
Right.
Cobb didn't have the same experience that Fulton and DeKalb did in terms of like a big week of going under contract, but that doesn't mean 89 or 88, if I could read right. 88's a healthy number in Cobb County, but they've got 180 pending, which is big numbers, right?
Yep.
Especially Cobb County, and then 169 closed out. They had 172, 156 at the end of September compared to 126, 169. So maybe, I don't know that I feel as confident saying October was a better month than September. But if you look back, they only had 39 closings and 50 closings those 2 weeks at the beginning of September. And the first 2 weeks of October were 156, 188. So they probably did have a better October than September. It just didn't all land at the end of the month. Any thoughts?
My only thought in seeing all of this is, one, I'm super excited to see it. The other piece would be, I wonder if we're not seeing an uptick because the holidays are coming up. People want to be in a home or situated by the time the holidays start. So that could be a question.
Yeah, it could be. Let's see, right? Okay, moving on. This is on Fox Business, and it says fraudulent rental applications surge nationwide as housing costs remain elevated. The company noticed that it was heavily prevalent in certain areas of Atlanta. So here's my comment. We don't need to go too deep into this, but I don't know that all our agents do lease listings very often, but some do it professionally, right? Like they're very uh, heavy involved in helping people lease property. So if you're a professional, you're checking credit, you're doing background checks, you're checking references, verification of employment, all this stuff. And your systems are probably well set up. However, my suspicion is there's quite a few agents that'll do one here and there for a friend. And I just want it on your radar that fraud is on the rise. So you're paying closer attention if that's something you're dealing with. Make sense?
Yeah, even personal rental properties.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean,
And
what, Toya?
oh, I was just going to add, I think some of the other pieces that actually come into play is the Atlanta market. I know that we're saying some of our agents aren't really taking a lot of rentals, but right now rentals sometimes can be as high as a mortgage, and that's what we're seeing. So I was going to say Atlanta, Midtown, Downtown, Buckhead are the areas that are seeing a lot of the fraudulent activities with leases. So it's just something to be aware of, especially like Rick said, possibly
Yeah,
investment properties.
I just want to put it on your radar.
Yep.
Do your due diligence. There you go. All right. So there's this article that says which U.S. cities are most house poor, which just means it costs a lot of your income to service your cost of living is a way to say it, or what percentage of your income is being sucked up by housing. So I started looking at this list, and I was actually pleasantly surprised. So, like the top city is down in Miami, like 37% of their income is going towards housing. That's a lot. And then I started scrolling, and then I kept scrolling, and I
Mhm.
kept scrolling, and I kept scrolling, and I kept scrolling, and I kept scrolling. And Atlanta's down here at number 96. And it's saying that 23% of income is going towards housing. And I don't understand their color scale. So it's not like hot, it's like blue, purple, orange, light orange, and yellow orange. Is that even a color? So my suspicion is we're actually sitting better than most around affordability.
Yeah,
Is that a fair statement? What do you think?
It
that's
probably
certainly
depends on
fair.
it might depend on the micro market too and where they
Mm.
start and stop the lines around Atlanta because Atlanta's a big metropolis.
Yeah.
There
But
are
I mean,
areas that are more expensive than others, but
100%. And
as a
and I think they're
collective,
doing
it's a
that
good
in
narrative.
every city, right? Yeah.
Well, it's a great
Right.
narrative for relocation and, sparking intrigue and interest.
Yeah. So I think this is a positive sign for our city.
Has to be.
Um,
That was my takeaway is that, yes, I would agree, Rick. It is really large. And sometimes we have to look at the micro markets as well to tell the story. But I think overarchingly, this tells a great story just about the Atlanta market as a whole.
there you go. All right. Government shutdown. Let's talk. So apparently November 14th is like a really important day. And if somebody knows why that's an important day, I would love a source article. But I know I've read that a couple times. Like there's some big motivation for them to reopen the government by November 14th. However, we are at 30 days. And now that the government's been shut down like, in excess of 30 days, there's a couple things you need to be aware of that are changing. And it's two big things. The first thing is flood insurance. So we don't have a lot, but we have some properties that are in the 100-year floodplain. And if you buy that house, you're going to have to get a national flood insurance uh, program, certification and all that fun stuff. That is a government program, and the lenders have been willing to give a 30-day uh, extension or pass on that certification. Yet now we're at 30 days. And so, if you're representing a seller that has a property in a floodplain, you need to be asking a lot more questions. If you're representing a buyer that's buying a property in a floodplain, you need to be asking a lot more questions because your deal could blow up or get severely delayed if it's part of underwriting for a loan and stuff like that. You just need to be aware that is a big deal now that the government's been shut down for more than 30 days. The second thing that you need to be very acutely aware of is if the shutdown's still ongoing on November 3rd, ding ding, today's November 3rd, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will start requiring home buyers who work for the government to show they have at least 2 months of documented reserves when applying for a loan. Now, documented reserves is pretty normal for a lender process, but I think they gave passes to government employees and different loan products and stuff like that. And I don't know about you guys, but a lot of government employees who haven't received a paycheck in 30 days might have gone through their reserves. And it just means if you're a seller and somebody's buying your property that's a government employee, ask more questions. If you're a buyer's agent representing a buyer that has a job, you need to be asking a lot more questions. And that's all I'm really bringing to the table. Any other thoughts, Rick, Toya?
I looked up the date for you, and AI just says that date, November 15th, is a key point as more programs and federal aid are expected to completely run dry around that time if no deal is reached.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So there's some
There you go.
expiring programming. So that's a pressure
So
point
maybe in the
for
next 2
sure.
weeks.
Yeah, hopefully.
I wouldn't bet on it. All right.
The only other thing that I would add on this one, Brett, is condos. I would definitely say make sure that you're familiar with if you're working with a buyer or a seller on condo docs, and kind of, if they're in that flood zone area.
There you go. All right. I'm excited about this article. So we've been talking about AI, and let me see if I can do my best to explain. So the comment is SEO isn't dead, but Generative Engine Optimization, or GEO, is changing the rules of engagement. So the best way I could explain it is SEO is like getting found organically. And if somebody in the past went to Google and said, give me the top 5 real estate agents in Fulton County, Google would go try to find an article or articles that had ranked real estate agents and would give you the links of those articles. Where AI is going to go do this giant data research project, and then it's going to create its own list of 5 instead of giving you somebody else's list. And that changes the game a little bit. So what we've talked about is, and I want to back up before I go to nerding out on this thing. Could you build an incredible real estate business with a database and cold calling or prospecting or dripping or marketing the same way we've always built a great real estate business? 100%. This is just the internet lead generation wave of the future. So not everybody's going to play this game, and that's okay. Yet, if you want to play this game, or you see this as a part of your business model going forward, you need to lean into this conversation. Is that fair? Am I communicating clear?
100%.
Yes, I love this. I
Okay.
think when we talk about, so October, we're doing business planning, and we talk about working on our business and in our business. This is working on your business. So when I think about this, you said it right. Can we build a huge business, lead generating, and all of those great things? Absolutely, yes. And this is the part where you get to almost reinvent yourself and be able to put the reputation out there that you want. So I love this aspect of it.
All right. So here's the first time I've seen like an actual plan, like do this. I mean, we've talked about it in concept, but this one actually gives like recommendations. So the 7 tips are your identity and your reputation. So it starts to gather about who you are, including your bios, your profiles, your reputation. So I started thinking about this. When's the last time, or Rick, when's the last time you updated your bio on your website?
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. I started thinking, I can't remember the last time I updated my bio. It's probably not even accurate. And I'm like, okay, maybe I should go re-update my bio. Do we have social media bios? 100%. When's the last time I updated those? When's the last time somebody updated their profile on Zillow or Realtor.com or Rate My Agent or Agent Pronto? It's just a moment in time. You probably need to go look at what is your digital footprint and update it, because AI is looking at it and it's sourcing things based on that digital footprint. Second thing, your reviews. So AI reads your reviews, and not everybody plays the review game. Yet I'm going to advocate you probably should be playing the review game in the future, right? Like you should be getting testimonials and documenting them in reviews, because AI is going to start to source all that stuff. So reviews is a big thing. Then you've got your social media and YouTube content. So this is kind of creepy, but real. You better believe ChatGPT is looking at your reels, your posts, your content that you're putting out there. And it's sourcing and curating that when it's being asked questions. So Are you putting reels together on current, local, and authentic posts? Are you doing YouTube content in long form about what it's like living in Decatur, Georgia, or what it's like living in Ackworth, Georgia, and what are the top 5 restaurants to go on a date on, and things like that? What I love, Toya and Rick, is Gary knows how important this is right now. He's taking an entire day at family reunion in our backyard in Atlanta, and he's calling it Social Media Con. And he's going deep into social media strategies and stuff like that. I don't know. I've never gone to a Comic Con, and all I know is I see people dress up. And I'm thinking, if I got to dress up for this thing, we got problems. But
You got to
we'll
wear your
leave it there.
banana suit.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
I love it. I love it.
I should wear it anyway and be like, oh, we weren't supposed to dress up.
I
Anyway,
mean, I wanted hits on
off
my
the.
social media page.
Absolutely.
All right.
This goes back to making sure
Social
you're
media.
you're connecting the right dots. When I see this, what
Yeah.
it tells me is that you better know what AI is going to find about you, because it may or may not be accurate. And this is a narrative you do have control of to some degree. And in an era where opportunities aren't falling from the sky, one extra orphan buyer or seller could be the difference in a quality quarter or month. And so
Yep.
you really want to win in every lead gen box if you can do it. And it's not if, it's here now. And
Yeah,
people do
for sure.
research.
And I love this
Well, the
article because
AI's researching.
Yeah.
they are. And I love this because, Brett, you said it. This gives us a plan. We hear about it, but we don't actually know what to do. So this gives you something to do. I love this.
Yeah. So market activity challenge, how you helped them overcome it, your expertise trail, turn a client question into a quick video reel, turn a pricing conversation into LinkedIn post. You guys can read through this. The other thing is your local authority signals. So you can show local authority in 2 ways: through your content, posts like 5 best restaurants for date night, where to watch fireworks, da 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 da, or through your involvement. If you're sponsoring a little league team, part of the PTA, you should be talking about these things because it makes you a local authority. And then the last thing is your thought leadership. So it's not specifically how you think, but are you quoted in articles? Are you a guest on somebody's podcast? Does the local Atlanta Business Chronicle quote you in an article as a source for information? All that's going to matter. They're going to see that and source it, right? So I was excited. I was geeking out about this article a little bit. Forgive me, but we'll move on. Any last thoughts?
What was the name of that article again?
We'll post it in Circle, but it's called want
It's
AI to
actually,
recommend you in online search. Do these 7 things.
and it's
It's on
actually
in.
already posted.
Is it already posted? All right, perfect.
Yep.
All right. So if you weren't aware, Fed cut the rate last week by 25 basis points, which I think is a really good thing. And mortgage rates went up. So if you ever were considering whether they were directly related, they were inversely related this week. But I actually think the second article is probably why. So there is a chairman to the Federal Reserve named Jerome Powell, if you're not aware, and this man has so much power in just his voice. So the Fed cuts the rate, and then Jerome Powell goes and does a press release and starts making comments. And that's actually what caused the interest rates to go up. So it says the Federal Reserve cut the federal funds rate today, but mortgage rates shot higher. This was not shocking to me, as yesterday I wrote about whether Powell would ruin the year's lowest mortgage rates with his remarks at the Fed press event. And that's exactly what happened. What do you think?
Well, maybe Mark or Luke, we have two lenders on the call with us today that I see can support or deny, but I have a feeling some of this is premeditated pricing built into the expectation of what the Fed will do. And then his comments probably weren't as invigorating as they'd hoped.
Yeah.
Either you guys want to jump in or share any thoughts on why the rates goes up when the rate goes down, the Fed rate and mortgage interest rates rise a little.
Come on, Mark Van, give us some
All right.
wisdom.
I'll talk about it. I mean, I'll keep it really short. Yeah, those hawkish comments were a killer. Same thing happened last time. So, they're just having trouble with the government shutdown getting all the labor data. And I think we'd be in much better shape if it wasn't for that. Yeah, I mean the Fed and the 30-year, 15-year mortgage rates are, I mean, they're sort of related, but they're not directly correlated. But man, the comments matter way more than what the Fed does.
Yeah.
That's a forecast of what's kind of happening in the future. And now I even read this morning on Barry Habib's deal that the likelihood of a Fed cut in December is even down a little bit. We're all expecting another cut in December, which I think we need. But I think it's down to 65% now. I mean, that could change tomorrow. We all know that, but
I heard it went back up to 70 today.
oh,
by
did
the
it?
way.
Okay, I didn't hear that
Yeah,
yet.
okay.
So, I mean, that's
Is
the
that
thing.
Vegas?
It's the comments, this is really good information for all the real estate people out here that, man, the Fed doing their thing is great, but the comments matter more than anything. And I really, hopefully this government shutdown will wrap up pretty quick. I think they're going to start getting some pressure soon, real pressure, and that'll help
Well,
us.
that's what I think that November 14th, 15th date is the pressure timeline, right?
Yeah, I mean they've already gotten a little bit of pressure, but they're real when they get there, they're going to get a lot of heat. So maybe that'll help us.
There we go. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All
Thank you.
right. Couple other things real quick. So, the hottest housing markets in Atlanta. So, Rick, give me the real estate's hyper local speech real quick, because I think that's very relevant here.
Well, you have to warn people that, especially clients involved I mean, this kind of correlates to the canceled contracts too, right? It's like, this is a time where hyperlocal means the most because subtle differences street to street, neighborhood to neighborhood really do matter in the supply demand story and narrative. And people often hear national news and, expanded news about how the market's doing this or doing that, but it may be irrelevant relative to Virginia Highland versus Decatur versus Oakhurst versus West End. So I don't know if that's
All
the
right.
exact speech you were looking for, but
No, it works. It works.
expertise has never been more important than local market expertise today.
So who would have thought Gwinnett County has zip code was the hottest housing market in Q3? And suburban and exurban zip codes made for many of the hottest markets. Da, 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 da. If I go down here to the list, the 5 hottest zip codes in Metro Atlanta. Dacula?
Dacula.
Dacula.
That is
Dacula.
Dacula.
Where is that?
Oh my gosh.
I
I don't know
you're
that
from
I've ever
Texas.
been there.
It's out past
Whatever.
Loganville. It's
All right. Excuse me, Athens, Georgia
Practically
people.
Athens.
it's the coolest
All right.
place on
It's
the
Dacula.
planet.
It really
The
is.
coolest. All right. Showing my roots. All right. Milton, Fayetteville, Canton, and Sandy Springs. And the top 5 zip codes in the city of Atlanta, those were the ones outside the city. And the top 5 in the city were 30327 Buckhead, 30345 North Druid Hills, Virginia Highland, Kaler Park, and East Atlanta.
Mhm.
Anybody surprised by this list?
I'm not surprised by Gwinnett. We've seen, Gwinnett take a real uptick in terms of just being one of the hot markets. So that's not surprising. Now, Fayetteville was surprising to me. It's down south, is where I am. So I was surprised to see that at number 3. But some of the other ones I really wasn't surprised at seeing.
What I don't understand or have clarity around is what defines hot? Did you say that early on?
Well,
I did
no, it's
not.
if you scroll back down, it shares those 5 metrics that they're looking at. So yes, step 4. If you actually go up just a little bit, go down, or there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they've actually calculated everything in terms of what they're considering the highest part. So calculated changes in data points, changes were 4 measures: listings to sales ratio, average list price, average sales price, and days on market within the quarter, year over year, and 5-year periods.
Okay.
Well, I would argue that Gwinnett County is a massive county, and there are pockets probably driving that statistic or that result that may not represent the
100%.
entire market. So even inside of that, expertise will prove, better choices over good choices.
Yep. All right. Last but not least, home buyers are backing out of deals at record rates. And here's why and what that means for the housing market. So home purchase cancellations in the US were 15% in August. Here's the thing. Obviously, financing is a big part of a home purchase, and we understand sometimes lenders or loss of jobs and all those factors. But there's a second part of this that I want to point out, which is I think setting expectations with clients is an opportunity here. And specifically, it's speaking about inspections. And so you've got sellers that aren't aligned with the current market conditions, which is an agent challenge or an agent opportunity, is getting your sellers aligned with the current market conditions. And then you've got these buyers coming to the table that are a little bit out of line on their expectations of what the market is as well. So there's a crazy story in here where I worked with a seller who received 78 repair requests from a buyer following the inspection. And that was after the seller lowered their $375,000 asking price by $25,000. The buyer came back and said they'll handle the repairs if the seller's willing to lower the price by another $100,000.
Wow.
Now, that's crazy, extreme, right?
Pretty sure I'd fire my buyer.
But I promise you the expectation aren't being set as clear with sellers and buyers right now. The market has shifted, it's changed, and the sellers are still thinking old and buyers are thinking too progressive, and we've got to manage expectations to keep these contracts together, guys. And that's really what it is.
Well, there's an incredible chapter in Shift, the book Shift by Gary Keller, on bulletproofing the transaction.
I was just about to say that.
I'm sorry, Toya. I stole that.
There you go.
You are so spot on. Love that. Love that. Absolutely. That is what we need to do. We need to bulletproof the transaction. And part of that is, when you say setting the proper expectations, is maybe doing a pre-inspection before we even list the property to see exactly what hurdles we're going to come across. That may be one. Two, if the seller really doesn't have the money, there are companies out there that will allow them to pay it at the closing table for repairs. That's an option. And then the third option is setting realistic expectations with the buyer as well, in terms of it. But Rick, you said it. We have got to make sure that we bulletproof these transactions, because 15% is a lot. I had one of my top agents, 8 transactions fell out for her this year, 8, where she typically will have 3. The other part is work on your business, add 15% to your business, your goals for 2026, knowing that you're going to have a fallout rate, right? So whatever your transactions are, units or even volume, add an additional 15% on top of that, because that may be what's going to fall out in 2026 as well, just to prepare. But Rick, bulletproof it. What else will we bulletproof?
There you go.
What else?
You nailed it.
There you go. Love you guys. We're here to help. We hope you get value out of this, but I'm challenging you to go post on social media a stat or a story or something you heard today that translates to your rankings in AI.
Good to see everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.